I'm going to disappear right. Eating all the spider webs now. Lots of spiders out here. You know what? First thing that I start to notice on this tree is lots of bird droppings, which is not good for me, because that obviously means that they've been searching through this plant looking for fruits. Now I can find, there's 2, they're not ripe yet, but they've even eaten a lot of the green ones off already. If you have a look here, Craig, can you see from here? That little thing there. That is one of the fruits. Not ripe yet though, it's got to go a beautiful cherry red color, and then you can eat them. They'll be quite bitter now, so I'm going to leave them, and hopefully it will still be around in the next few days, and I'll be able to come and eat it because they're so delicious. There's 1 or 2 of them. There's still a couple of green ones, but they are small. I feel like I want to come here and cover this entire tree up with a blanket or something and be completely selfish just so that I can eat the fruit. Because I'm sick of the birds and the monkeys. They won't give me any jackalberries, probably not going to get any worries either, and well then the elephants and everything else, and the warthogs, they just eat all the marulas. Though David and I did a really good job this year of collecting lots and lots of marulas before the elephants and things got hold of us. Sorry Craig, I'm going to go back a little bit so you can grab that branch. No, he's got to get out of here again. There we go, thanks Craigie. Right, back we go. I have to oh no, I'm going in the mud wallow now, but I suppose that doesn't matter. Basil, you've said that it's a beautiful tree. It is. It's like one of my favorite ones. The Num Num or Carissa bispinosa. I just want to show you something very quickly. I'm going to stop here. The last time Craig tried to battle a tree, you should have seen what happened to him. Craig, should we show everyone your injury on your arm? Yes. Yes, come on, it looks like you were attacked by a lion. He wasn't attacked by a lion. Look at this. He's going to try to show you now. Look at that Bateleur. It almost looks like actually a motorbike tire had gone across his arm. We were trying to collect a little bit of firewood, and we found this marula tree that the elephants had pushed over, and also it looked like the termites at one point had got to them as well. So it was quite brittle, and we thought we would use that to try and, you know, as our first log to get the fire going. Once we put all the little bits down, well, he pushed too hard against that tree and it snapped and it bit him. So if people tell you that trees can't bite, they lie. I've been bitten by them many times, and there's proof right there that they can attack you. And that one didn't even have any thorns, but he's okay. That was very funny actually when that happened. I laughed. We were all so terrible. Hey Craig, whenever somebody trips and falls, we go, oh, are you okay? And then we start laughing. I can't believe you're all saying, ouch. Ooh, Craig, that's so bad. All those types of things to describe Craig's wound. Hello, starling. There's a starling up here, which is quite pretty in the light. A little bit more sheltered over here, though. Off it goes. Bye, Birchall starling. I'd like to see fighting Francolins today. That's going to be my mission, because I feel as though asking for cats might be a little bit too much, unfortunately. Waving to the birds. Right. I don't know where we're going to go now. More snacks on safari now because of the animals. They're just eating everything. It's ridiculous. It's like they need to eat to survive. Of course, when I say that I'm sick of the animals eating all the fruit and stuff like that, I'm only joking, in case you don't know me too well. That could probably come across as I could. So I'm only teasing. But it would be nice if the birds would share their fruit with me. You know, apples and bananas and things like that. Don't eat bananas. Do not like bananas at all. So, and that actually seems to be all the fruit we have in camp at the moment, is apples and bananas. And I find apples difficult to eat. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but you know, anyway, seeing as though there's no animals. Well, when I eat an apple, I have to cut bits off with a knife. Right. So, and then I don't like bananas, so no fruit for me at the moment. Oh, there's kiwis in camp. We love kiwis. Anyways, enough about what fruits I prefer. I'm going to send you across to Tristan to see where he's been for the last little while.
And you never know, maybe the cub's there and she's actually back on our side and somebody's just completely cocked this up. Yeah. Which wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, well that didn't take very long. Welcome back to the what fruit does Tayla like and not like show. We seem to be on now. Right, so it seems as though Tristan doesn't have communication at the moment. Hopefully that gets sorted out. I'm looking for birds now. The wind hasn't subsided not one little bit just yet. So I think until that happens, it's going to be fairly quiet out here. Not even a footprint of an elephant this afternoon. I've driven all of my favorite good elephant roads. Haven't been any. I'm just going to check in Mulwati again. Like I said, I want to go all the way back down towards Agari, Maine. Because the last time we did this, we bumped into young Hosana. Just passing through. Maybe we'll get lucky and we will have a repeat of that. So that's what we're hoping for. And then also fighting Francolins. I was telling you about that sighting the other day. So that is now my mission, is to get them on camera and actually watch with you and learn. It was very interesting techniques that they were using. Right, under we go. You're right there, Craig? Okay. Just got to push the aerial down. This tree over here, I really want to see the Nkuhuma Pride playing on it. Isn't that a beautiful tree? That would be so great to have the 6 sub-adults playing about. No fruit on this jackalberry. Now Seahawk, you're wondering if there's any safety precautions against if a rogue lion were to attack the safari vehicles. The chances of that happening are next to nothing, to be honest. And like I said, animals won't just attack you. You just have to, of course, watch the animal's behavior, which is very, very important. Let's see what else we've got here. Right, I'm going to send you back across to Tristan. It seems as though the gremlins are about to attack us.
Not about to, they already have. It just seems as though this week is going to go like this all the time. So tough week it's been, that's for sure. Now we are still trying to find Shadow and the cub. We are trying to see if we can't find her here somewhere, and my comms are being an absolute nightmare. So gremlins are overrunning this vehicle and can't hear a single thing that Alice was saying, but it seems like it's all working again. Plugged everything in, made everything sorted, and then now it seems to be working. Alas, it seems Shadow has crossed back and forth into Arethusa, so we're not sure if she's our side or that side. The guys are still busy tracking there, and they said they will keep me posted as if they find her. So hopefully she'll kind of come up and sort of surface around Triple M somewhere and come back towards Djuma. But I think in all likelihood she's probably on Arethusa side, because the last tracks that they had were going west towards Red Dam, which is an area that we know she likes to frequent fairly regularly. Natalie, you're wondering what animal has the hardest tracks to find. Well, it depends on the type of animal, it depends on substrate, but you know, in terms of the bigger animals, the animals that we track regularly, things like leopard are probably the hardest, just because it's just one of them normally. So they have a small foot. If you think of Shangile, her foot is tiny, it's only about that size, and you then having to track that through grass and all kinds of other things. So leopard is probably the hardest of the bigger animals. But when you start thinking of really tough tracks, things like squirrels, beetles, scorpions, those become a lot harder to actually see. So it's all relative, it depends on what you're talking about. But bigger animals, probably leopard is the hardest in terms of trailing and following and trying to actually find the animal. They generally are the toughest one, and that's why when the trackers do their tests, they will actually test them using a leopard to get their highest qualification. So the guy's got to find a leopard track and then follow it all the way through to get a certain level of tracking. So you get level 1, 2, 3, 4 and senior tracker, and then master tracker from there. And so if they can follow a leopard and track it and trail it and find it, then that's what they get tested on to become master trackers and senior trackers and the sort of higher qualifying levels. When you're first starting, you'll start tracking things like buffalo and elephant and rhinos and those kind of things, because, well, they leave really big prints and a lot of destruction as they go. So that's the kind of way that it goes, and much easier to track them. They're also water dependent animals, so they often go towards water, and there's a lot more signs that they leave behind than something like a leopard. A leopard is really quite tough, particularly because a lot of the time they're in dense, thick vegetation, which means footprints for them are not always visible. And so what you've got to do is you've almost got to think like a leopard and kind of move in the same ways that they would, and try and sort of go from a certain area to another area and hope that their footprints cross an open section within the section that you're working. So particularly when you get off-road and you go away from the roads, then it becomes a lot harder trying to find their tracks and trying to find the actual individual themselves. We're just coming to Treehouse Dam in case it'll Shongile or Shadow, you never know, might have come this way for an afternoon drink. I know that Tayla was here earlier and was checking, but it is later in the afternoon. It's cooled down quite a bit. It seems that the wind is somewhat slowing down a little bit, and that might mean that there might be a leopard around the dam. So that's why we're coming to check, just in case. It's also a nice view from here in the afternoons. Oh, this is an interesting one, Roshni. I'm not 100% sure. You're asking which leopard that we see on Safari Live do I think I relate to the most? Tough one, I think. I'm not really sure, actually. I mean, I love spending time with Tumba and seem to get lucky with him and Tandi, so that's quite nice. And I like both of them a lot and spend a lot of time with them. So that would be probably the two that I relate to the most. I find Shadow and Cub seem to give me a run around most times, and well, Shongile is also not easy in terms of tracking too. She also seems to make us do lots and lots of loops around before we actually find her. So yeah, I would say Tandi and Tumba, and Mvula. Most of the time that we find Mvula's tracks, we find him too, and I kind of feel like I associate well with him as well. So, but it's a sort of interesting question. I've never really thought about it and never really spent the time to think kind of who exactly that would be. I'm not sure. I wonder what Tayla thinks as to who she relates to the most and who I do as well. It would be quite interesting to know what she thinks. Seb, what do you think?
For you or for me?
For you and me. Let's do both. Because we're getting old, Seb, so maybe Mvula's a good one for both of us.
Yes,
we both got grey hairs, we're getting old. We're medallas, as they say, exactly. So maybe Mvula's a good one for the two of us. We're not youthful and young like some of the other staff that we have, like Tayla, who's younger than us and could be compared to Shongile. I think Tayla is Shongile as well. That's what I would say. Craig is the cub. I'm pretty sure he's not going to agree with that one little bit at all, Craig being a small girl. But let's try and go across to those two and see what they think, if she's approving of Shongile fitting for her, and well, let's see what Craig thinks about being Shadow's cub.
But Shadow's cub is a girl. Tristan just called you a girl, Craig. That's not very nice, eh? He's shocked. He's actually just started crying now, Craig. He's so upset. He's so taken back by that comment. It's okay, Craig. I'll give you a tissue. I'm just joking, of course. I don't know what leopard I relate to most. I quite like Kuchava. And I like her sassy attitude too. She seems to like to be in front of the camera. Don't we all? So I think I'm going to say, if anything, I could relate to myself as Kuchava. I'll never forget that sighting we had of her as she was boxing with a rock monitor. That was really cool. That was an amazing sighting. I feel like if I was a leopard, I'd probably go and bother rock monitors and water monitors on a regular basis. That's quite nice. And then she seems to try and take on things that are slightly too much for her, and I feel like I do that sometimes as well. Like the day that she thought she'd try and stalk an adult kudu bull. That was very funny. It was the same day actually. She sat on the termite mound. Oh, thank you, Craig. I wasn't concentrating for a second. I was looking on the road. But Craig has spotted birds. I thought there was a snake in a car actually when Craig went or a flat tire. This is getting ready to do a tire changing segment, but here we have a pair of Bateleur eagles. We actually see them on the road quite regularly. They must have a nest site around here. There's this pair, and I think it's the same pair that we see on Leadwood Road because that's not too far from here. So this must be their favorite spot. But nice silhouetted against the trees, don't you think? Now as we sit here, I'm also just listening out to hear if we can hear any other birds that are chirping. Babblers, of course. They never stop talking. A couple of doves, but nothing too exciting. Now I think they're getting ready to settle in for the evening. Whether they're going to stay on this perch, I doubt it though. I think they'll find something else. Craig, is it just me or is the wind starting to die down, or are we in a very sheltered spot? It has dropped a little bit. That's amazing. From half an hour ago it was still gusting to now, I mean you can see the trees are evidence. They're not dancing sort of crazily like they were earlier. Everything has settled down, which is quite nice. I mean we'll have a very peaceful sunset. It's actually very hot now without that breeze. Right, let's carry on. I don't know where we're going yet. We're just driving. Let's see what we can find here. A couple of rollers. But I still would like to find elephants more than anything, to be honest. That's what I was really, really hoping to see. Wouldn't that be nice? A big herd of elephants coming down to drink at a dam, or even just grazing out in the open. It would be very cool. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to turn around. Let's go to Chitwa. Just do a quick loop. We'll go down here, back onto the road. I think let's go check the drainage lines of Chitwa. That will be a good spot. There's normally lots and lots of animals around that area, so we might get lucky and find some. Maybe the hippos will be playing as they were playing yesterday. How rude is that? Craig, are those warthogs that have just popped out in front? We were just there looking at the Bateleur eagles, and there was not even a sign of a warthog, and as we've left now they've come out. And there's an entire family of them. I'm going to just pick up the pace and then I'm going to go silent. Try and sneak up onto them. I think we've been spotted though. Yep, we've been spotted. They're running across the road now. Bye! Off they go. Now remember that funny episode of Byron when he was talking about warthogs, and I think he kept missing them, and as he turned and looked at camera, it's probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I cried with laughter. My stomach hurt because it was just such a good description of what the animals actually do to us constantly. But Byron's obviously saying, oh, the warthogs were here, but unfortunately they've disappeared, and as he turned back to look at camera they then ran across his head. But everything was so funny. Maybe if any of you still have that short clip, you can share it with everybody, and hopefully you'll find it just as funny as I did. If you know anything about going on a safari or from just watching the show, you'll know that happens far too often out here. Other than those 3 warthogs that did a very very briefly showed their face. I think all the animals are down at Tayla Dam, feeding in that area where the wildebeest and the impala are. 'Cause there's not even a herd of impala here. Normally there's always a herd of impala. I haven't seen one steenbok of Chitwa line. That's another thing. Normally always seeing steenbok and duiker on this area. Perfect habitat for them, of course. Lots of little shrubs, nice tall grass to hide amongst. Just looking up at the trees, seeing if there's any. I have noticed though, I think most times when we've been watching giraffe, they're actually feeding on, I love buffalo thorn as well, which is this tree over here, which is also thorny. Remember, giraffe are specialists at feeding on plants that do have thorns, that have a physical defense and also a chemical defense too. That's what the acacias specialize in. But you can see they're able to eat that too. Let's keep going. Wonder what's going to be happening. Of course, I'm going to have to try and see if I can get hold of any of the guards before we go down towards the dam to make sure that there are no guests. We're going to check that there's nobody having a sundown there. We must be courteous. Well, we try anyways. This is sometimes a good road. Oh, Cokie Franklin's. Oh, that was a big hop and a skip and a jump. I think there's two males trying to compete for that female. So the one we're looking at now with the bright orange head, that's the boy. And there's another one just off to the side. You can't see him. Come back out onto the road. Look at the female. This is so cool. Look at this behavior. Isn't that amazing? So I wonder if Francolins form arenas. Sort of like, I'm just looking. There's a whole bunch of them. There's so many males here. So that must be exactly what's happening. All coming to compete for this female, and she looked like she'd chosen her winner though, the way she kept presenting herself. Let me go forward a little bit, Craig, and then you can get this one. This is another male. We might have a fight here. Let's have a look. Aren't they beautiful though? Such striking colors. No, I've actually never really seen a lot of these birds mating. It's not always a common sight. You'd think it's very common, but unfortunately it's not. Okay, Craig, we're going to have to move. Sorry, I think our Cokie Francolin sighting is going to be cut short. I'm going to just pull off the road slightly and maybe we can get another view of them. There's one calling, just chat. But we unfortunately have got to move. There's a vehicle pushing us off of the road. No, we'll just stand by for now and then we'll just let them pass. And then hopefully we can... He's now looking at the birds. Right, we're just going to be patient, trying to be patient. Hi. Right, let's go back. There's a big fight going on here with these birds. This is so exciting. Sorry about that. Let's carry on watching this because this is very interesting. All the males are now flying into this corner, all the Cokie Francolin. This is the most exciting thing we've had all day. I could hear them. You can just see one moving. Now, the problem is that they've moved into this long grass, which is not great for us. But listen to the sound. No, Craig. You see the bush willow? I mean the round leaf teak, the tree, the sort of broken tree to the right of it. Yeah, there was one there. If you go, oh yeah, right here. There's another one. So Craig, if you could, I don't know how quick you can be. There's the females coming here. The females causing all of this havoc at the moment. Let me see. See, she called just now. She was the one that was calling initially. Now the males are responding. There's another one just in front of her. Look there, they're surrounded. There's another female calling behind her. So there's two girls here. 3, 4 females. Craig, you don't know where to look. It's too exciting. Oh, don't mate there. Don't do it. Don't. Oh, they're going to mate right in front of my car and you can't see it because I can't move now. Oh. you can't see it at all. Maybe they're going to move in front of my car. They're just here. Now this is actually really exciting. I need to actually do a bit of research on the breeding habits and if they form arenas and things like that. Normally you'll just have one female and then lots of males and things coming through. But it seems as though there is more than one female here, and they're instigating. They're the ones starting to call first, trying to attract the boys, and then the males are coming in trying to compete for the females. That's a boy again. It's a male, like I said, with the orange heads. The females have sort of got not as colourful, but also, even though they seem to be competing with each other, they're also looking for food. They're not going to be wasting any opportunities. And it almost seems like it's so interesting. It's like the girls are coming in looking for the boys. That's very pretty. And we'll stick on this one. There is a male approaching a female now, right next to each other. I'm actually just going to very quickly open my bird app. I want to see if I can find any information, if they sort of discuss it. Like I said, I'm not familiar at all. Where is my bird app? There's a whole lot of them here. There must be about 10 or 15 of them. You can even hear them just moving through the grass. Now I'm just going to search quickly. Francolin. Where is the Cokie Francolin? I'm going to scroll down to be breeding, and we'll just all read about it, and then I can let you know. Let's see. Actually, don't talk about it much at all. Go right up. Right, it seems as though even my app doesn't give very much information. I mean, I have to go back and look at my really big bird book, which I have on my shelf with many of my other books, and see if they go into details about Francolins. But that was just very interesting. The females were very vocal, then the males would respond. You could see that the females were definitely presenting themselves. They were sitting down, lowering their backs towards the ground, almost flattening their bodies. And then there were males and the females were hopping about. That was so cool. Wasn't that amazing? I thought, there they go again. Look at all of them. And this is not even the whole group of them. I'm now wondering, I wonder what the chances are. They're right, and if you zoom straight in, Craig, you'll get all of them. There they all are. I wonder if this is, maybe they're not a family, but I don't think that they'd be trying to mate with their youngsters. It's all quite confusing. Very interesting. Mr. Killed, you've said very cute birds. They are indeed. They're one of my favorite. I think actually I lie. They're my favorite out of the Francolins. Just in terms of their coloration, it's quite pretty. No, I don't think that this is family. I definitely think there's something going on here, and it has to do with perhaps the courtship process of the Cokie Francolins. But I will do extensive research on this, because I don't think it's a coincidence that I've now seen Crested Francolins, males, fighting with each other. And now we've seen this behavior with a Cokie Francolin. So they must be gearing up, getting ready for the breeding season. That was so fascinating. Never seen anything like that before. And I know it sounds silly because it's not a leopard or a lion, but I very much do enjoy sightings like that. And this is how you learn, is you experience these different things. You can only read so much in a book, but now if I go back and I read about their sort of courtship process, that will make a whole lot more sense. So it'll be something that we can discuss tomorrow morning on the sunrise safari. Just remind me, and then we'll go through it. It's a pity that I don't have an extensive book with me. We could have had a look, but that one has to stay, of course, on my shelf. I can't risk it getting dusty. But anyways, Tristan was also doing a bit of birding, and let's go across to him. I know his flew away, but perhaps he can find another.
Tree kind of well, maybe not the same tree, 2 different trees actually, but on the edge of the road. Now, alas, there's been no sign of any other animal to talk about. The animals all seem to be having a break. No giraffe, no shongile, no shadow and cub, no elephants, no buffalo. So hopefully something will pop out somewhere in front of us. And it sounds very interesting what Tayla's had. I've once seen Francolins in a courtship display and a huge sort of territorial issue. And we came around a corner and the 2 male, what I surmise was 2 male Francolins that were having a go at each other. Now with Francolins it's quite difficult to tell because in some of them they don't really present, in particularly the Crested Francolin, there's no real difference between male and female. And so these 2 were fighting, and what they were doing is they would go up towards each other and there'd be lots of head bobbing and calling, and you'd find then that the 2 of them went up against each other, and they have these big spurs that come off their feet at the back, and there's a big protrusion. It's like a sharp spike almost, and they were trying to actually hook that into one another. And it was amazing the damage that little spur does, because as they were going up and hitting each other, the spur was digging in and feathers were being pulled out, and you could hear that they were actually sort of, there would be a squeak or squawk, should we call it, in a bird, that would happen as soon as that spike hit the other one. So it was obviously doing some sort of damage, and like I say, feathers were strewn all over the place. It was quite something to watch. And I remember I was trying to get photos of it, but I had been photographing a leopard the night before, and I'd forgotten that I was on manual and not on aperture priority on my camera, and so I just completely messed it up with the shutter speed, and so they were all blurry. But it would have been quite cool to actually see them, well, get some of the pictures of it, because it was a really cool sighting to see Francolins fighting. It is a first for me, that was for sure. Isn't this beautiful? In fact, it's actually worth just stopping here for a second. The grass is glowing this gold color. It's very pretty. Oh, James, you're wondering which bird species has the most aggressive mating ritual. Look at how pretty the grass is. You can see it's not blowing nearly as much as it was when we started drive. The grass has kind of simmered down a little bit, and even the breeze itself has got the same gusto it had earlier. James, I'm just trying to think. You know, mating displays is one thing, but in terms of actual fighting with one another, I've seen, funny enough, a bearded robin. Now this is a strange one. I'll try and find it in my book so I can show you what they look like. Let's quickly go here. I've seen a bearded robin killing another bearded robin, which was the most unusual thing. There are photos somewhere online if you do want to go and have a look at it, James, and see how it all went. But basically what happened, where are the robins? There we go. Is that it was in the staff village at Singita, and we were busy watching, sitting around, and we were talking nonsense, and this bearded scrub robin came down. That's not a scrub robin, that's a Cape turtle dove. But our bearded scrub robin is this guy here up at the top. Very pretty little robin. It's got these orange flanks that come down and on the tail area, and these very sort of bright white markings. But this guy came down, and then another one arrived, and they went into this serious fight where they were grabbing at each other, and eventually the one bird managed to pin down the other bird, and with this beak pecked right through its skull and eventually hit the brain and killed it. So it was the most insane thing I've seen. Robins are not generally meat eaters in any way, and they kind of just got into a scrap, and it literally pecked that bird to death and killed it. And it then happened again a bit later where it killed a white-browed scrub robin and then killed another bearded robin, and I think it was the same one. So I don't know if he was just a bit cooked in the brain, as they say, or if there was a bit of a issue there, or if that's how bearded robins actually sort things out. I haven't seen much on it since then, so I'm not 100% sure, but that's kind of was a first for me and a first for a lot of people that we spoke to about it. Now, do we have a little drongo here? Or, no, don't fly away. It was so pretty because it was backlit nicely, but I think it's a drongo. It could also be a flycatcher. We do get the black flycatcher here, and from this distance it's been a little tough to see who's who. No, stop flying. No, it's gone completely now. I thought we maybe get a little view as we came around the corner, but it's flown away. Ah, there's an animal. When was the last time we saw an animal, Seb? A while ago. But there is an impala in front of us that is making its way to Impala Plains. Fancy that. I think there's a reason it gets the name. Funny enough though, on Impala Plains I very seldom actually see many animals on it, and I don't know why that is. Generally you would think that a big open clearing, if you look at quarantine and the number of animals that are on quarantine, that it would be very similar with Impala Plains, but for some reason the animals don't spend nearly as much time there. You find the grass is quite long, but they don't sort of sit there at night. You don't see them going there during the day, and it's probably because that grass is so long, and it's also a through route for a lot of our predators. You find the Birmingham's often crossing there, Shadow and Cub use it a lot, Tingana uses it, so maybe they just bumped into predators so many times that they're a bit nervous of all of it. There goes our big impala ram. So it seems like a little bachelor herd that we've got here. There's 3 or 4 of them scattered about in the bush. Nice. It'll be very nice once they go out onto the plain, because they'll be in that gold light. Geeky Beth, you're wondering how well antelope's here. The answer to that is very well. When you're out here and you're a prey animal, your senses need to be on point, because otherwise you're going to end up being killed many times. Well, not many times, but you will be killed and be dead. So you'll have a situation where their hearing's got to be very good, and particularly in the case of something like a kudu or a nyala that spends their time in thick, dense bush. They have massive ears that are basically like big sort of satellites, and they pick up everything that's going on, and those guys hear much better than they actually see. Things like impalas, wildebeest, zebra, while they might rely more on their eyesight, they still do have excellent hearing, and you'll see that sometimes with the cats moving around. So I've had a situation where a leopard was hunting impalas, and they make one false move and you'll find the impala's ears just all go and start sort of screeching, and they all start shouting and see that leopard. Now you might hear a little bit of noise coming from the camera side of things, and that's because there seems to be some running repairs that Seb is busy doing with some gaffer tape. So if you do hear some funny noises, that is what that is. There's a little repair job. Now Seb, don't fall off, because now Seb's standing and busy taping. You sorted yourself out. Do you want me to stop?
No, it's good.
Because I can stop.
Done.
Oh, you're all done. Well done. That was very quick. Of course, the reason why I didn't want to go over this massive bump is because you'll see we go quite high on the back and down, and if Seb is standing, well, it's difficult to stand when going over such large bumps, and so I'd rather stop and make sure that we don't knock Seb off, because that's not going to go well. Seb, have you ever fallen off the back?
No, not yet, eh?
Not yet. Have you ever come close?
I know it will happen one day.
One day? One day when you're not paying attention, somebody's going to hit a bump somewhere. Hopefully it's not me. I'll do my best.
Also, I've got feeling one day when we're off-roading, I'll have a snake's gonna fall in the car, and
So
I will jump out of this car.
So Seb is saying that he has a feeling that one day, not only is he going to maybe fall off a car, but that we're going to be off-roading, we're going to go under a tree, and we're going to disturb a snake, and a snake is going to fall on the vehicle, and then he said to me he won't fall out the car, but he will purposefully jump out of it. So hopefully that's not the case, Seb, because I wouldn't really want a black mamba to fall in the car. Luckily, in my years of off-roading, I've honestly never had any situation remotely close to that, and I actually haven't heard of any guides that have. So it's a scary thought, and one that hopefully will not happen to any of us. I'll definitely do my best not to put us in a tree with a snake, because, well, who would want to be in a car with a snake, particularly now that you've knocked it out of the tree? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be too happy with life and with your presence, so hopefully not. The beehive, yes, that was close. Whoopsie. Seb, I'm sorry, I've put you through a lot in the last few months. I do apologize. It's been a rough month for all involved, I think, so far. Don't worry, I got hit by a tree yesterday while trying to get into Tundi. I did, and Craig laughed at me. Beers, you're wondering, has anyone fallen off the back and we've just carried on going as though nothing happened? Well, albeit not that I know of. I know what does happen often is in the mornings when it's dark. Let's see if our yellow-billed hornbill will stay where it is there on the tree. It was having a bit of a dust bath, so it would have been nice to have seen them dust bathing. You can see a bit of a scratch. I know in the mornings when we get ready, it's often very dark, and so when the guys put on the light that shines on us as presenters, we can't see a thing behind it, because it's this bright LED light, and you can't even see the camera really. And so often has happened, I know Jamie's done it, Brent's done it, where they've just driven off with no cameraman. So they've gone on drive with no cameraman, and I think it was Jamie once got as far as Philemon's Dip, which is, I would say, about almost a kilometer from the camp, before she realized that there was no cameraman on the back and that she was just talking to blank darkness, which does happen from time to time. So I can't remember who it was that got left behind. I think it was Dave. Dave and Craig both often like to jump off and quickly go grab things at last minute, and then they were there and you think they're there, and then you carry on and, well, they're not there anymore. So I think that's what happened. I think it was Dave that Jamie left behind, but very, very funny, because she kind of went along and then she realized what had happened and had to then come all the way back, and there was, you know, cameraman just sitting, waiting, wondering what has gone on. At least I haven't left you behind, Seb. No. And if somebody did fall off and you didn't notice, it would be a big disaster, and I'm actually not sure how that would be possible, because somebody falling off is not going to go quietly. Also, a cameraman is attached by many cables, so there would be ripping of cables, there'd be falling of headphones, there would be all kinds of crashing and banging behind you, and you would have to be a pretty cold-hearted human if you just didn't listen to that and just carried on driving, because, well, yes, like, can you imagine dragging the cameraman behind you by the headphones? That wouldn't be so pleasant at all. Right, enough about bad things to do to cameramen. Let's try and head towards the hyena den before we lose too much light, and hope that they're out and about. And maybe while we're there, little Shongololo was around this side hunting. And for those of you who don't know who Shongile is, that we sometimes refer to as Shongololo, she's a young leopard that we get in this area. She's the daughter of the famous Kruger, who used to be the queen of Djuma, and, well, still is the queen of Djuma, really. She will forever be the queen in this area, but she's disappeared, and so now we have a situation where it's just little Shongile, who is her last daughter, and she's a tiny little leopard forging away. She's not very old at all. She's only about 16 months, and she's had a really tough time of it, because she lost her mom at around 13 months old, and so the last 5 months have been, or 4 months have been, trying to sort of get used to being on your own and hunting for yourself, and taking care of yourself is not an easy situation. So that's why she's endeared herself to many, her and her brother Hosanna, because he also has had the same thing happen to him, obviously. And Hosanna took to it like a duck to water. He was killing immediately, and probably because he was a little bulkier and bigger, he was able to overpower large animals. But since then, it seems Shongile has perfected the art of hunting things like duikers, because we've seen her on a couple of those kills, and so she's doing really well and is looking healthy, looking good, and hopefully we'll be able to show all of you that have never seen her before when she comes out on the road. Come on, let's see, maybe we'll be lucky and she just pops out on the road, Seb. This is again back where we were, and it's, as Seb always says, this is leopard time. When that sun just starts to dip down, he always tells me this is the time for a leopard, and so Seb, now's the time. We shall spot her. If we don't come right with the hyena den, Galago Pan is going to be a good option to look for little Shongile. I'm sure she's going to go for water at some point. It's been a hot, dry day, lots of wind, and it certainly has dried all of us out, and I would imagine for a little leopard it would be also, if she hasn't gotten a meal and gotten any sort of blood and moisture from her meal, then she might go towards the pan for a drink. The nice thing about if a leopard drinks at Galago Pan or anywhere around the camp is there's generally a few monkeys around, and they'll go crazy when they see her out in the open drinking, and that will then alert us. And if we're at the hyena den, much like the other morning when we found Mvula and Shongile and Tandi together, the monkeys were the ones that actually started to alert us to what was going on. So, and we heard those from the hyena den, so we're going to try it for a repeat performance from this side. The problem is if she's inside all of this, it's going to be very tough to see her. No. It's very dense here though. If she's here, we're going to struggle. Even if we did find her, to follow her through this would be no easy feat at all. I remember following the Nkumas through here the other day, and it was quite something. Poor Craig got a few trees to the head. And I was saying earlier that he was laughing at me yesterday when I got spiked by a tree in the leg. He was actually, it was the most I've ever seen Craig laugh at somebody. He was almost crying, he was laughing so much, and I don't know what was so funny about it. I certainly wasn't laughing that much, but I had a tree stuck in the back of my neck. I had it in under my armpit and then into my knee, and it had kind of caught my leg and drew a bit of blood, and Craig thought this was hilariously funny because I think maybe it was just after I had told him to duck and I didn't duck myself, and that's what happened. So we'll carry on towards the den. We're almost there, and while we kind of get ourselves in and see what's going on, let's go back to Miss McCurdy, who I think is out of the Mulawati now and therefore should be gremlin free after her voyage to Chitwa Dam.
We are gremlin free. Well, we'll see how long it lasts. Unfortunately, we weren't able to stay at Chitwa Dam as there were some guests who had arrived late this afternoon, so they were having sundowners on the deck. So we very quickly snuck across the dam wall, but we couldn't stay there for very long at all. But how beautiful is the sun this evening. It's already set, we've missed it. I was too busy chatting away, but look at that beautiful colour in the sky. And I know you hear it from us all the time, and we always stop and look at the sunsets and sunrises, but can you really get enough of it? I don't think so. Especially when it's between two trees. I think it's quite pretty. Lots of birds starting to do their final calls. Now, I have a game. We're going to play What Bird Is That? But now, we have to play What Bird Is That? Because I took a photo of it and it's a silhouette. You have to tell me what bird this is. You can hashtag the Safari Live with who you think that silhouette is of. Isn't that beautiful? It's an easy one. I'm just checking to make sure that you are all still watching. So give it a bash. You know, for those of you who have been watching the show for quite some time, you'll find that bird very easy to identify because there's almost nothing that looks like it out here. But for the newbies, our new viewers, can we call you newbies? Nah, because you'll become safari experts soon. It'll be a nice one. And hopefully we get to see one maybe in the up and coming days. We'll try and look for one, and then yes, then we can talk a little bit more about it. But they're lovely birds. I now don't have a plan because I was hoping to spend a bit of time at Chitwa Dam. But guests first, as always. It's good. So I think we might just do a little bit of a boundary patrol then. Perhaps we'll go all the way along Gari Main and then we'll go into Triple M. I know it sounded like those lions crossed back into the property this morning and then they crossed west again. So they seem to be doing exactly the same thing. So we'll go down there and just have a look. They're lovely birds. And Craig and I were sharing some stories. Craig was telling me a story of how he would have to fish the frogs out with the pool scoop of his pool, and he said sometimes he didn't even need to do it because the Hammerkorp would do it for him. And I had some most amazing sightings of them in the Eastern Cape. I was saying that there's some massive river systems, but they always wash the crossings away. So to try and alleviate some of the pressure, they'd use these big concrete pipes and then build them into the road so it would still allow the water to pass through. And the Hammerkorps were so clever, they'd stand at the edge of it when the water was gushing through and wait for the little fish to pop out, and they'd snatch them up like that. So that created some amazing sightings and right up close and personal next to the car. Tristan has managed to safely navigate into the hyena den, and it seems as though he's got some form of surprise.
Well, we've got little Intima that's come and seen and said hello. And first we got you, we thought there was nothing to be seen, but they were around the back. And now Intima's come to investigate. When she heard the car, she came round. And our little one is right at the top of the mound and king of the castle. See it there? Just hiding in amongst the thicket. How cute is that? That is as cute as it gets, I can tell you. You can see Intima's making her way up that way. Hopefully they're going to have a bit of a game. Maybe now that we've just arrived, there will be a bit of sort of interaction and a bit of waking up. I think they're hoping that maybe the adults are back. I don't see any of the adults at this stage. I think that these two have been playing around on the top of the mound, and that's why we didn't see them when they were around the back. And Intima is very, very curious. She kind of came around the mound, came and checked us out for a little bit, and then now back onto this area and back to chewing on some sticks. And I believe a lot of you are very excited to see the hyenas. It's always good to see them. Now, hopefully the mothers will come back, because we don't like to spend time at the den without the mothers. It means that, or an adult of some sort, just in case something arrives and follows us towards this area and then causes a bit of an issue for the little ones. So that's why we don't spend too much time without the adults. Now, Alison, you say Ntima is so cute. She is very cute. Seems to be, by the day, becoming more bold with us, and she's been chewing on the tires recently and seems to always come and kind of have a look and see what's going on. The little one, not so much, is still a bit unsure of this big hunk of metal, that kind of chunk, sorry, not hunk, I don't know why I said that, big chunk of metal that comes around and kind of moves and goes into this area. So it's curled itself up on the top. Have you been playing today? Is that why you're tired? Is that not the tired face of a... Oh no, it's all too much. Saturday afternoon nap before the big night out. There we go. And you can see the little spots just starting to show through now. And it's trying to have a nap, but Ndima's crunching down on what appears to be a stick or a bone. I can't see nicely what it is, and that's keeping her awake a little bit. Is that a bone or a stick, Seb? I can't see. It looks like a stick. I don't think that is a bone, just given the shape of it. You can see it's almost a hollowed out section. Now, April, you were wondering what they are chewing on, so I'm not 100% sure. It might actually be a bone. It's got a bit of a white edge to it, but I don't think so. It doesn't look bone-like, does it? Maybe it is.
Its paw. If you look under its right paw, it does look a little bit.
Yeah, maybe under the right paw is the other section of it. It could be a bone. I would be surprised if it was a stick and was being chewed with such relish. It's, sticks, they'll chew them for a little bit and then leave them, but it looks like it's actually consuming whatever that is, so I'd imagine it must be a bone. Now that it's turned, we'll probably get a bit of a better view of what it is. But you can see, even at this age, those jaws are incredibly powerful. And I think it is a bone. You see how clever she is already. She already knows how to use her foot to pin that bone down to then be able to crunch down on it. There we go. Don't get that stuck in your throat now. I have seen that with hyenas too. They're such gluttons that sometimes they do this. And, well, there it goes. The whole thing down. No, it's coming back again. And like I say, this is what happens sometimes, is that they crunch them down and swallow them, and then it gets stuck a little bit, and then they have to actually get sick to get it out. There you go. See? Just like that. There it comes back up again. You have to break it down more. There we go. You can't swallow all of that. It's too big. No, it's not going down. This is there. Did you get it down?
Wow.
Well done. Now you can imagine the constitution of that stomach to be able to try and actually digest that, what has just been swallowed. I mean, that was a whole chunk. No, it's back out again. Look. Or is that a different piece now? Must be a different piece of bone. But to swallow such a big chunk, you're a little glutton, Ntima. You must be careful that doesn't get stuck in your throat and cause some damage. But like I said, it's amazing to me that they're able to digest that and process that bone as big a shard as that all the way through, and that doesn't affect their stomach or their intestines in any way. And we know that bones are generally quite sharp, so you can imagine how uncomfortable it must be once it goes down. So, hyenas are another story. Yes, we're talking about you. That's the little face of innocence, isn't it? Except that they're not so innocent, these guys. They're quite naughty. Shame the little one is just curled up on top. He's really kind of, I think, envious in a way that Ntima's getting something to chew on. That little one is nowhere near ready to be breaking down bones of that size. In fact, it won't have the jaw power yet to even crunch through that. You'll find that it'll go pick it up and play with it a little bit, just out of curiosity and from watching Ntima going through it, but it's definitely not big enough to crunch down on bones and will still be very reliant on milk. Isn't that nice with the colours in the background as well? This den is spectacular. It's one of the most beautiful places to spend time. The angle of the sun in the morning and the afternoon is pretty good, so it's a nice scenic den. A bit more so than the den of Philemon's cutline, I think. What do you think, Seb?
I agree. Yeah.
Yes. So, John, I don't know if I got this correct. You're asking about hyenas, what they're related to. I didn't get the most of it because, well, yes, comms are being a pain today. Bears. So, no, they're not related to bears in any way. The hyenas are in their own family altogether. They are part of the Hyenidae family. There is no relation to bears. They're not related to dogs. They, in fact, probably the closest relation that they can come to is cats, funny enough, which is really quite strange. And that's why their young are referred to as cubs and not pups. But they're in their own family altogether. Hyenidae is just a completely separate grouping. But isn't this little one cute? Even the grass is too much. Are you coming to say hello? Yes, here we go. Mischief is on its way. Mischief 1 and 2. Okay, here we go. Here comes Naughty. Are you going to... You're not allowed to chew the tires. We've spoken about this before. Yes, you know not to come chew tires. Don't be naughty. So take care. You're asking why do they tend to chew the tires? Is there any other animal that does this? Well, I've seen the wild dogs do it from time to time, but I think it's just the curious nature of hyenas. They just like to kind of come and see what's going on, and then they bite the tire, and the tire is fairly soft, and it's like a puppy. When it's got a chew toy, the softer it is, the more they like to bite down on it, particularly when they're teething. Remember, a lot of these hyenas are younger, and they tend to teeth when we're around, and so they come and bite the tire, and it just helps to ease with the teething process. Are you also becoming curious? Oh, lost our nerve a little bit. No, not sure about this thing. We have to wait until the older sibling in Djuma comes in to be able to be sure of what's going on. Is that not the cutest little thing? Yes, you are so cute. I wonder what's going through its mind. Hyena dens have got to be probably one of my favorite things as a guide. In all the years, and the reason why I say it is because generally hyenas have such a bad reputation, and people come with this sort of preconceived idea of what a hyena is, what it does, that it's a nasty, dirty, horrible animal, and dens always help to dispel a lot of those myths and to show the softer side of hyenas and really endear them to people. And so a den for me is one of the best places to bring people and to change this sort of misconception about them and the way that they actually move around and what they actually do, because everyone always thinks that they're these killing machines that kill everything and are disgusting and have a bad sort of feeling about them, and actually that's not the case at all. Hyenas are incredibly intelligent animals, socially are highly sort of developed. They're also animals that are very caring for one another, and the den sites themselves show that softer side. And who can't think that that little one over there and even in Djuma are not the cutest little things ever? And the thing about hyenas, the other side of a den, is that it's generally quite interactive, and I say interactive and in a way that they come and they sort of look at the vehicles and they almost scan everybody, and they go become part of the experience a lot more than something like a lion or a leopard just that completely ignores us. Hyenas generally take quite a lot of interest in what we do, and so it's a lot more engaging for people when they come on a safari to see hyenas like this, and why that den is very, very important. Oh, be nice. Now it is starting to get quite dark, so I don't want to be at night without the adults. I'm gonna... why are you being biting? No, don't bite it. Unfortunately, when you're a sibling and you're younger, you're going to get bullied. That's just part and parcel of life, particularly when there's only the two of them. So this Intima is going to bully this little one quite a bit. It's just unfortunately how things work. It's not ideal, but Intima will learn in time, and she'll get sort of over it when she gets older, and the little one, once it gets stronger, will be able to help sort of fight back and be able to push back a little bit. So, Francis from Israel, you're wondering if the older cubs are protective of the younger ones. No, not really. You'll find a situation with the older cubs is that they will be just as scared as that little one and probably try and run into the den as fast as possible to seek shelter, much like the little one would do as well. So they're not actually very protective of those little ones. However, once they make a noise, the adults will come flying here and will really try to push them out and try to make sure that whatever's threatening their cubs is taken care of. So the adults hear what's going on and they come in very quickly to sort things out. So you'll have a situation where the cubs not so much, they don't really look after one another, but adults definitely would. What are you doing? Have you decided that's where you're going to nap now, in the grass? You can see just how little that is, and the length of the grass is far taller than what it is. Must be such an interesting world. Now, John, you were saying you wonder what they think when they see humans, and I'm not sure. It must be interesting. Just they're very intelligent animals, and they're able to work out what's going on. So I'm not 100% sure what they kind of feel and how they actually see us, but at the end of the day, I think the vehicle is something intriguing. They're curious animals. They like to investigate, and the only way they can do that is with their mouth. So a lot of the time they sit and they're just analyzing, just checking where they can come and bite down and see and test out what this object is and whether or not it's something that they need to be nervous of. Now, Paula, you're wondering how old are they when they get their spots? Well, you can see this little one is getting its spots already, and this little one cannot be more than 3 months old. So they start to get their spots. It's a little bit different for each one, and we saw when Tima had a sibling that the one was far more spotty than the other to start with. So you'll find that they get their spots at different times, but generally around 3 months we start to see the first spots around the neck area, and by the time it's 6 months, which is in Tima, you can see that they're pretty much spotty all over, and that their legs themselves are starting to get spotted and lose that darkness as well. So that little one, you see the little spots on the neck? There we go. Starting. You're quite brave, little one, for such a small... It's very cute, this, and very timid. I'm not sure it knows what to do. I think it wants the parents to come home so it can have a good suckle before it goes to bed for the night. Remember that these hyenas will be put into their den. When mom comes back, she'll chase them back in and make sure at night that they stay in there. And these little hyenas also know that at night it's better for them to be in rather than out, because lots of predators are around. And that little one is a snack for even something like an owl. So you can't spend too much time. Owls would come in and even potentially take them. And during the day, they actually have to worry about quite a few bird predators as well. I know wild dog puppies often get taken by martial eagles, and the same would be with hyena young as well. You've still got very bandy legs. Long legs for a little one. See, look, it's actually scent marking. Well, it's trying to. It's not got it down right yet, but they have a little gland underneath their eye that they can rub up on grass, and it's almost trying to do that. You haven't got it quite right, little one. And you'll find a situation where these guys will also do what's called pasting. Now that's pretty much how hyenas mark most of the time, is they've got a little gland that sits underneath the anus that produces a paste, and they'll walk up to a grass and they'll kind of just paste on it, and that will leave a scent for all the other hyenas that come past. You're still very wobbly. Now, Aaron, you're asking why the spotted hyena is in a separate genus to the brown and the stripes. Aaron, I'm actually not 100% sure. It's not something that I've actually thought about too much, and it's probably I should pay more attention to it. I'm not 100% sure at all. I'll have to try and research and to see why. It might be something to do with their sort of clan structure. you'll find that the striped and the brown hyena are very seldom in big groupings like the spotted hyena. They don't form these massive social groups. They tend to be loners a lot of the time, or in a pair when they're mating, but very seldom will you see them in big clans of 50, 60 of them like you see with the spotted hyenas. So it might be something to do with that, but I don't actually know for sure. I wonder if maybe it's... Be nice to it, Djuma. There we go. How's that? Little rub up just to make sure you say hello. They are very cute. So, Kristen, you're wondering if the cubs will treat each other in order of the status of their mother in the clan. Most definitely. So you'll find and the reason why is because they get stronger if they are higher ranking cubs from a higher ranking female. They get first access to food, which means that they generally get bulkier and stronger and bigger, and therefore can dominate the others. And that's why there is this situation where they will push them around, and it will almost be a situation where the lower ranking cubs get dominated early on in life and they learn it very quickly. The other side of it is often with low ranking females is that they'll actually even den away from the high ranking females. They'll use a separate den site, have their young ones away to stop that bullying that happens by those cubs from the higher ranking females. You can see this little one, even though it's just play, there will definitely be a situation where Djuma will dominate her. That's just from a size point of view. Even if she was a higher ranking individual, Djuma would still dominate that little one because of size. But if mom is here, and let's say Djuma is from a lower ranking female, then the tiny one, then mom would discipline Djuma quite quickly and make sure that she knows that she mustn't mess around with that cub. Isn't it sweet to have the two of them? As I was saying just now, though, we are going to have to leave here because we can't stay here in the dark without the mothers and leave them sort of out and about, because, well, if anything sees us or hears us and comes to investigate, it would hate to be the cause of these little guys getting hurt or injured. So we're probably going to leave them shortly and let them carry on their evening. I don't see any sign of the adults. I'll do a quick scan around with the light on our left. It's starting to get quite dark, and see if there's not any sign of Ribbon or any of the others. And while we do that, let's go across to Tayla, who's got her own light out and is looking for any signs of animals.
I got my flashlight in my hand and we're scanning around. Doo-doo-doo. Craig's not, he's got the camera, he's just panning around with the camera. I don't know what we're hoping to find this evening in terms of critters of the night. We are just doing a quick boundary patrol to see if the Nkuhuma lions have come back in crossing Triple M, but no luck just yet, which is a little bit sad. Maybe tomorrow morning. Chameleon wise, it would be fantastic if we could find a chameleon. I'd really like to see one, so I'm searching. And a white-tailed mongoose. Craig, what night animals would you like to see? Maybe a honey badger, says Craig. We'll see if we can find you a maybe honey badger. And I'd like to see maybe an owl too. That would be quite nice. Actually, we saw a barred owlet when we were at passing Chitwa Dam, but we didn't have any signals right in the dip where the hammerkorp was sitting. It was so cute. It was actually sitting quite close to the road. It was really nice. So I did get to see an owl already, but it doesn't count, because if you didn't see it, then did it really exist? It did, but I think it's unfair. Now there's a couple of trees here which are good spots for chameleons. We might get lucky. And I see cars. Is it safari lights? Are there lions? No. It's just a civilian vehicle. I better turn all my bright lights off not to scare them or blind them. Oh my goodness, we're going to eat dust, Craig. I think I'm going to turn us like this so we don't have to eat the dust. We're going to look away just very quickly because, as you can see, with there not being a breath of wind now, because it's completely calmed down, obviously all the dust kicks up quite a bit and it goes into the camera, it goes into my face. It's not particularly nice, so we need to just wait for it to settle a little bit before we carry on. that was one thing that you can't help when, well, there's many things that you can't help when you're out on safari, but I'll never forget some of the biggest complaints I ever got as a guide was, it's so dusty. That was a bad South African accent, by the way. And I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can do. You just got to try and sit and wait it out. But sometimes, like I was saying, when there's no wind at all, the dust will sit on the road for 10 or 15 minutes, and you can't sit for 10 or 15 minutes to wait for the dust to settle. You just go. And I was like, well, you're on safari, you're probably going to get a little bit dirty anyway. You know, don't let the dust worry you. I always found that funny, and I could never quite understand it. Right, unfortunately we're coming to the gate now. That means our road is going to end because we're going to hit the fence line. And I still haven't almost got excited and shouted lions. It's not lions. There were two impala that just walked across the road, and as I thought it would have been perfect. Imagine me saying, we're not going to see them, blah blah blah, and then the next minute there they crossing the road. In an ideal world, but unfortunately not tonight. Some very big impala rams running around. Be safe, gentlemen. Keep your wits about you. Let's go up Bateleur access. Maybe we find that civet that seems to be quite relaxed. We haven't seen it for quite some time now. I haven't had a sighting of it. Maybe Tristan's bumped into it along the way. Could be quite nice. No, it's not a chameleon. Even anything. No, I think it's actually, I've just made it up. I've imagined a lion marking its territory up against a guarri tree. It was a shrub, but a very lion-like shrub. Many of those out here, we always tell our favorite stories about the animals that look like all sorts of other things. Like, remember we had the buffalo, the buffalo log, and I was convinced that it was a buffalo too. Got so excited. But that night I think I may have had a little bit too much sugar though. Still no chameleon, not even one. Usually when I say that, then one pops up. So chameleon spotting is actually quite easy. It's not particularly difficult to do, but you have to keep your eyes on where your spotlight is going. That's the most important thing, is that you won't be even if you're doing this with your spotlight and you're looking like this, you won't find a chameleon. I wish I had another pair of eyes, or I actually wish I was a chameleon, and then I could look at you with one and then the other eye could be spotting. That'd be great. It's a good idea. Craig, would you like chameleon eyes? I think it'd be quite cool. Oh, lion. Oh my gosh, hello. That is what happens when you're too busy looking back at the camera. Can you believe that? And I'm just talking about it. Maybe I did see it, Craig, down the road. And that's what I was looking at. Alice, are we still live? I'm in shock. Oh my goodness. Hang on, I have to call this in. I have to call Aubrey because they're desperately looking for cats. So how crazy is that? I think that's exactly what I saw. I thought I imagined this lion. Like I said to you, no, I've got to use two hands. Well, it's one of the Birmngham boys. Right, I need to jump on the radio. One Dodengala, Bateleur access, approaching Gari Gate. One on lock. How crazy is that? I said that I thought I saw, and then I was telling you about how if you want to spot animals, spot chameleons, you've got to look at the camera, and here's me talking away, and Craig's going, lion, Tayla, lion, and I didn't even realize that there was a lion 5 meters from me. So it just shows you how crazy is that. Craigie, should we do my normal maneuver? Let's go in front. Hold on, Craig. That was a termite mine. That's affirmative. You're welcome to make your approach. Just come straight for your Bateleur access. I'm going to go radio down now. Just trying to get in front of him quickly. Hold on, Craig, again. So there's lots of, I think the warthogs have been in here. We have to do our sneaky maneuver where we get in front of him and then we reverse. So we look at him. Wait. Oh, be a hole, please. Okay, I think we've got enough room now to do it. Sorry, Craig. Yeah, you're right. You're still on. Didn't drop you. Okay, here we go. Now we need to figure out who we've got. That's crazy. And I'm actually gonna... Woo! Linda, you said that cat today is saved. It is indeed. How lucky are we? I'm gonna... Who is this lion? He's very beautiful. I wonder if it's not a Mfumo. He's going to mark now, like, up against the tree. That is unbelievable. I cannot believe... See, I need to trust myself sometimes. And when I think that I imagine objects in the very far distance, I must go to myself, Tayla, maybe it is. I need to give myself more credit sometimes. I'm so good at spotting things. Okay, right, now he's going through a very thick block. I need to just quickly also update on the radio. This Madoda Ngala has now changed direction. He's going north. He's cutting through the block from Vuyatela access, sort of back towards the warden's houses, towards Sydney's Dam. I'm going to try and stick with him through the block, but it's very thick. Okay, let's go and let's try to go around. I don't know if I'm going to be able to navigate through that block. I think, can anybody help me? I'm so flustered that a lion was giving me a death stare because I didn't realize that he was even right next to the car. I think it is is it not Nana? Ladybug and Daisy think it's Tinyo. I don't know. I actually haven't had a proper look. I'm too distracted. I'm trying to find a way in here now. What a nightmare this block is. We're going to definitely break the car if we try and go through here. I'm going to have to try and stick on. There's a beautiful big game pathway here, so we're going to have to use these networks, these road networks that the animals have created. So please bear with me. I apologize if it feels as though I'm not paying you attention. I just don't want to end up stranded. Connor's not here to come and be the rescuer. He was coming this way. I think he's going straight towards Sydney's Dam. Craig, can you believe our luck tonight? That's so funny. It's amazing how things like this happen. I'm going to try and guess where he's going to come out because I can't actually see anything. No, we'll have to have a look. I honestly, like I said, I was too flabbergasted by this whole thing to honestly even try and figure out which lion it is. It did have a little cut underneath his eye, and that looks like exactly the same thing that we saw the other day. There he is. Oh, Tayla, you biscuit. If today was going to be the day that I was going to be on form, thank goodness. Whew. Okay, he's just going through there again. You can just see him moving. Ah, that's so funny. So a couple of you are saying that you've never seen me so flustered before, and Craig was so calm. That is funny, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Craig, hold on. Oh no, that's not gonna work. Now I'm stuck. Alice, I'm stuck. Well, we can look at the lion. We'll get unstuck, but we're gonna have to do a bit of maneuvering. There he goes. He's walking through the bush. He's going straight to Sydney's Dam by the looks of it. This is why I didn't want to come in yet, because I knew I was going to get myself into this situation. But he's about to disappear. Alice, I'm going to have to ask, can we go to Tristan, please? So I can try and get myself out of this situation while this lion disappears. Fortunately, I'm not going to be able to do it live this time. I might even have to engage Difflock now. Alice, can you hear me? Right, I'm going to send you across to Tristan now. Apparently he's racing off to a leopard, so let's go and see if he's managed to find it.
Well, I'm not racing off to a leopard because I can't find it, so nobody knows where it is. Herbie said he spotted it on his way in, but we can't see any sign of it from where he said, so just trying to get hold of Herbie to try and find out where exactly this leopard could be. But he said it was on Vuyatela access close to Aubrey's, apparently, but I can't see anything. I've come all the way along past all these. There's some impalas here, but no sign. I'm going to turn around and go back. Maybe I missed her and just check around there. Lots of impalas, so maybe she's coming towards this area. As you can see, Seb is helping me with his spotlight, so we've got 2 spotlights. Now, Herbie's on the radio, so I just want to talk to him quickly. Herbie. Herbie, whereabouts did you see this ingwe? So just trying to find out from Herbie exactly where. Okay, so it sounds like it went northeast into the monkey orange thickets, which is not ideal, but I'll try. Okay, thank you, Herbie. So Herbie said he saw it just now. He's not here anymore because I raced here as quick as I could to get to where we are, but I'm not sure we're going to manage to find this leopard. I hope we will, but I don't know, and I don't know who it is either, which is the other part. So from here, apparently it went northeast into this stuff. So let's go a little bit forward here. It seems like it's going to be a day of tormented by leopards. So I don't know if it's Shongile, I don't know who it could be that's here, but I don't see any sign of a leopard walking in this area. You know what, let's try and just see. If we go in here a little bit, maybe we'll get lucky. Well, at least Tayla has had some luck this afternoon. We've been pretty luckless, and let's go quickly across to her while she's still with that beautiful lion.
Are we? This? But is it? But where's the patch of his shoulder? Is it not him? No, maybe it is. Now he's got a patch underneath his stomach. I can't remember. I was trying to find the patch of skin that he's missing off of his shoulder, on his right shoulder, and I didn't see that. Is it you? And he looked so much bigger the other day too. Let's just stop. Let me just go this way, side of him. He's heard something. Maybe it is Tinyo. I can't see now. Now I'm doubting myself. No, maybe it is. What have you heard, young man? He's listening very carefully. Perhaps there's another lion roaring in the distance. Is that a half moon shape cut off of his ear? Oh, there's something in here. I think there's birds in here though. What have you seen? Maybe it is Tinyo. I can't tell now. Because when I was on the other side of him, on his right side, I couldn't see that patch of skin that you can see, where the hair is rubbed away. Oh well, we'll figure it out later. Peyton Payne, you said you think it is Tinyo. It's amazing how he's just changed completely from when we saw him the other day. Maybe it's because as well he was so full. He had, if you remember, he had an entire belly filled of zebra. So that's probably why. That also made him look enormous. At one point when I first saw that lion the other morning, I thought it was a matimba. From a distance, he looked absolutely massive, and I'm glad I managed to get unstuck off of that log too. Now he's crossing out. He's going straight towards Sydney's dam. We're going to watch him go. The little gap that opens up here. Hey, Craigie, or he should walk. He's looking good though. He's looking a little bit on the lean side. So perhaps he's maybe looking for something to eat. That's a possibility, and it'll be a good thing to, of course, go towards the dam. I'll try and update the guides now. Oh, you want to go infrared? No problem. We're going infrared now. We're going to go black and white. Here we go. That's quite nice. But sadly, we're going to lose him as he disappears. But we'll just watch him go. So thank you for all your help, of course, with IDing him. He just looks so different. I can't believe it. From what he looked like the other day. Madonna and God is now mobile on that big animal pathway, just slightly east of the Wardenskaya towards Sydney's dam. I'm going to leave it at an open lock now, but he's going straight towards the dam. Just updating, of course, the guards. Off he goes, marking again. Doing a bit of a territorial patrol as he goes along and he disappears into the darkness. How cool was that? Wasn't that fantastic? Whew. Last minute lion. Last minute lion. Now I need to try and see what... No, that light doesn't work. That doesn't help me if I want to reverse, does it? Cool. That is amazing. Now, I'm not even going to try and turn around because it's going to end up being a disaster. There's not really a clear spot for me, unfortunately, to have a look. But how great was that? So my eyes are not as bad as what I think they are in terms of spotting things in the very far distance. What I saw was very far away too. I got such a fright as well when Craig was going lion, lion so casually, and he was just standing next to me, walking next to the road, probably going, she's going way too fast. Why is she not slowing down? Can she not see that I'm here? No, sorry, Mr. Tinyo, but thank you for popping in. Hopefully the Nkuhumas will be back in the morning and we'll have them on a kill of some sort. That will be the ideal situation. Maybe some spots as well. Maybe Tristan manages to find this leopard that's given us the slip. Hopefully it hangs around. But it has been a wonderful afternoon. A bit slow to start off with a gusting wind, but a few cool bird sightings. And we'll do a bit of research as well on the Cokie Francolins. But from all of us here, big thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Sunrise Safari.